Hello everyone, I am back with a video for Vlogmas. This is day 16 and I'm actually going to be covering some of my current reads. So let's just get started and get right into it because I have quite a bit of books right here that I'm currently like on and off reading or solidly reading right now. So I'm just generally gonna get into it. Basically, I'm running out of a little bit of ideas to be doing a video over right now, so basically what I'm doing is just a quick video for you guys to watch. I know there are people out there who really like to read, so that's why I'm covering books that I'm reading right now, because some of you guys might enjoy the same things that I enjoy. So there's a really loud truck outside. So I'm just gonna give you guys some books. Maybe you're gonna be interested in it and maybe you've already read some of them. Just let me know down below if you've read some of these books because I think some of them you guys probably have. I decided to zoom in a little bit because I feel like it was just a lot going on and I wasn't close enough. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of, well, that's my journal. I'm just gonna kind of like start from the bottom, I guess, and work my way up through these. My first book right here is Be Here Now. This was by Ram Dass. I posted about it on my Instagram a couple times and I love this book so much. It has guided me quite a few times in different things. Like sometimes I'll just be feeling a certain way and I'll flip to a random page and read it and really just kind of resonate on it and soak it all in. We ordered this one, or we didn't order this one. We actually went to Barnes and Noble and bought this book. It is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend. This is one of the books that I'm not solidly reading right now, but I occasionally pick it up and go through some of the pages and read about them, or not read about them, or just read it, because if you haven't read this book or even heard about it, it's got quite a bit of good information in it regarding spirituality or just how to live peacefully and things like that. And then the back right here has a good amount of information on different quotes and like meditation, I believe. This one's about sexual energy. Just a whole bunch of spiritual things are in here that I can really use to become more spiritual and understanding of my inner self and own being. So I really recommend this book, especially if you want to get on that more spiritual path or you feel like you're trying to understand your own life more. Recommend it. Read it, pick it up somewhere. Very good. So book number 2, Caleb and I are both reading these books. It kind of just goes all around, honestly. They're the 5 love languages, and this one's the men's edition. I feel like I could even read it for him, and I feel like he could probably read it towards me. I'm not 100% sure how this one works. I do know that I really love this one. Caleb and I have had times where we struggle to connect or struggle to function. I don't know how to say it. Like, we just kind of get in little arguments sometimes, or we're just generally kind of in bad moods toward each other, and this really helps us understand that. I actually learned about this book and had heard about it a couple times, but I mainly learned about it from Ellen Fisher. She's another YouTuber we regularly watch. We love her. She's amazing. But as soon as I heard her talk about this book and how much it had helped her and her husband, I actually borrowed it from my mom. So now I'm reading it, and we're not too far into it, but it's not a very big book anyway. I think there's probably only 189 pages, so there's not really that much you have to read. But this book really helps you in a relationship whenever you're struggling. It just tells you the 5 general love languages, and you just find out like what your love language is, and then your significant other, like for me, Caleb, can read the book and understand what his love languages are, and then you can understand for your significant other, say like my love language is gifts or anything like that. He will read it and then understand what it means showing love through gifts, which can help him a lot, honestly, if he just learns about what my love language means, and then I can learn about what his love language means and how we can act on those love languages to show each other the love that we need. Recommend if you need help in your relationship. There's always a way to fix things, so do not be discouraged. They're great. They're helping our relationship quite a bit. The next book I'm reading is A Beginner's Guide to Losing Your Mind, and at the bottom it says How to Be Normal in Your 20s with Anxiety and Depression. This book is 100% relatable for me in my life. I found it in the mental disorder section in Barnes & Noble, and I went through it many times and just kept looking at every single one because I really wanted every single book there, because I love the brain, I love how the mind works, I love learning about different mental disorders, and I didn't know if I wanted to get one that was more so a fiction book about someone dealing with borderline personality disorder, or someone dealing with schizophrenia, or, you know, etc. I was like, you know, I'm gonna get a book for me because I really needed it. And this book generally just talks about, it's a girl's account of how to cope with depression and anxiety. She has borderline personality disorder, and she just gives her own account of how she helped change her life living with these disorders, and gives you real tips that actually I feel like I can utilize in my life dealing with these disorders. It just tells you, like on the back, it tells you like things that you can learn to deal with and cope with in this book. And it's not just like one of those general self-help books. She gives her honest and general experiences and opinions on how she's lived with these things, and it's just a really good book. And it's great to read other people's accounts living with depression and anxiety, because I feel like it's more relatable and it motivates you more to get to a more happier place in life because they did it. If you really want to read it, if you're dealing with anxiety and depression, I think it's a really great book. It really has impacted me. When I read certain things in there, I'm like, oh my god, that is literally me, and I just feel like it's more relatable. Next book I'm fixing to start reading, so I'm just going to include it in here, is A Streetcar Named Desire. I'm pretty sure I read this book when I was in high school, but I honestly don't really remember anything. For some reason, I don't remember it. But whenever I read certain things in here, I'm like, oh wait, I do remember that, but I can't remember it. So I'm just gonna reread it if I have read it. Maybe I just generally know the storyline and that's why I remember some things, but that's what I'm going to be reading soon. It's a great classic. I think everyone should read it. I generally feel like it's a good classic if you've already read it, which I was saying is you've probably read it in high school. It's probably like a required read or something like that, kind of like Shakespeare or To Kill a Mockingbird. So that's like pretty much it. I mean, if you've read it, you've read it. If you haven't, I feel like it's a generally good classic that everyone should read, so read it. I don't know. I'm really excited for this one because I found One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for 50 cents right here at a garage sale. I've watched the movie a good handful of times and I've never read the book, so now that I found the book, I'm really excited. I think I'm actually going to start this today because I feel like reading a good book during the winter is super amazing and cozy and really fun. But if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. I'm pretty sure the guy's name is Jack Nicholson. He plays in The Shining, you know, the guy that does Here's Johnny. That's who it is. So I'm pretty freaking hyped to be reading this book because I have watched the movie and I love the movie. It's an amazing movie. Yes, Jack Nicholson is his name. Great movie, highly recommend. It's just, I don't even need to explain to it. Just go watch the movie, read the book if you can. I keep saying that these are classics, but I really like classics. Yes, please just go watch the movie. If you don't want to read, watch the movie. I'm not even going to go into it because you should just watch it anyway. Lastly, a book that I guess someone in my family accidentally forgot to turn this one in is Lord of the Flies. I remember reading this my senior year, and then we ended up watching the film about it as well. It was written in 1954, so the movie is in black and white, I'm pretty sure, and it's generally got like okay graphics, you know, they didn't have all the fancy stuff that we have today. This book is another classic. We had to read it in high school, and this is one of the books that I actually did read. You know what I mean? Like, they assign you a freaking book and you don't want to read it. This is one of the books that I actually did read. It's just about a all-boys school that were on a plane and the plane crashed, and they ended up on an island, and all of the adults died in the plane crash, but they all survived. And just kind of talks about their life on the island and how they live and some of the crazy shit that they end up doing because they're just a whole bunch of children and they don't understand how life works in the real world as an adult. So they do some really crazy effed up shit, honestly, in this book, but I'm going to reread it. I've been wanting Caleb to read it really, really bad, and he has yet to do that, and I don't think that he'll hate it. I think he'll actually enjoy it, maybe. I mean, the words are very tiny, and I feel like some of the vocabulary might be a little bit different than what we're used to, but in general, I think that he'll like it. If you haven't already read it in high school, recommend. Very good book. It's not a real one, you know, it's fictional, but it's still got a good storyline. It's still got some interesting stuff in it, you know. One of those questions like, what if there were no adults in this world? This kind of sums it up, so. Well, I hope you guys liked my video of my current reads, but I guess I can't really call it a current reads because I'm not reading all of these books right now, but they're books that I'm generally on and off with or am going to start very, very soon or have already started. It's a pretty good amount of books that I recommend to you guys to obviously read. If you read, I feel like no one reads anymore, and I love reading. If it's not a book, it's a blog post or something like that. Had to get my thumbnail. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Vlogmas and just in general the month of December. It's going to be a great holiday season, and I'll see you guys for my next video. Thanks for watching. See y'all tomorrow. Bye!